How did Vikings endure Arctic winters, where temperatures plunged tens of degrees below zero, in houses made mostly of wood and earth? Imagine settlements blanketed in snow, icy winds cutting through open fields, and darkness dominating almost 20 hours a day. Yet, history shows that Viking communities didn't merely survive, they thrived. Their secret wasn't magic, it was ingenious engineering, carefully honed over generations. Each element of the house, from foundation to roof, functioned as part of a unified heat-preserving system. These were not just homes, but living thermal fortresses designed to work in harmony with the brutal northern environment. The famous Viking longhouse was inspired by shipbuilding. Scandinavians spent much of their lives at sea, learning how to build vessels capable of withstanding stormy oceans. They transferred these principles to land, shaping walls that curved like a ship's hull. This was not for aesthetics. The design allowed wind to flow smoothly around the house, instead of striking it with full force. Entire communities, family members, workers, and even slaves lived together under one enormous roof. Collective living was not just a social structure, but a survival strategy, as the body heat generated by dozens of inhabitants helped maintain a warm interior. Orientation and layout were critical. Longhouses were aligned with cardinal directions to minimize exposure to prevailing winds. Entrances were hidden in the long walls rather than the end walls, often equipped with extended vestibules acting as heat traps. Thick walls were layered meticulously. A wooden frame provided support, while turf blocks formed massive insulating walls. These walls could be 1.5 to 2 meters thick at the base, tapering toward the roof for stability. Grass often grew on the walls, binding the turf blocks with living roots and camouflaging the structure within the natural landscape. The house literally became part of the earth, blending with the snow and greenery. Inside, heat came not only from the central hearth, but also from livestock. Half of the longhouse was typically occupied by animals, cows, goats, sheep, and sometimes horses. This was not a sign of poverty, it was an ingenious solution. The warmth generated by animals naturally circulated into the living areas, reducing the need for fuel. Floors in the living sections were slightly elevated, allowing warm air from the animals to rise into human spaces. People and animals shared the same air, creating a symbiotic system that conserved energy and ensured survival during the harshest winters. Windows were minimal or absent. Glass was rare, reserved for churches, and ordinary homes relied on small slits for light, plugged during winter with moss, straw, or wooden stoppers. The Vikings preferred darkness over losing precious heat. Roof vents, known as leora, were adjustable openings above the central hearth, allowing smoke to escape without draining the interior of warmth. The hearth itself was elongated, up to 10–15 meters long, lined with stones that stored and radiated heat evenly. In treeless regions, peat supplemented wood, providing slow, consistent heat. The roof was another marvel of engineering. Built with a strong wooden rafter system, layered birch bark provided waterproofing, and turf blocks insulated against cold. Grass growing on the roof bonded the turf layers, further insulating the house and creating a natural green cap that merged seamlessly with the snowy or grassy landscape. During heavy snowfall, these roofs and walls captured snow, which acted as an additional insulating layer. Even in blizzards, interior temperatures often remained around 0 degrees Celsius, while outside temperatures could plummet below -30 degrees Celsius. The interior layout maximized warmth and functionality. Raised wooden platforms along the walls served as living and sleeping areas. Cold air sank to the earthen floor, while heat concentrated on elevated benches. People slept with furs and woolen blankets, often in their day clothes, while servants and slaves occupied lower areas near the hearth or livestock. Daily life cooking, crafting, and working took place on 2 levels, the raised living areas and the earthen floor passageway below. This design mirrored the interior of a ship, creating an organized, efficient space. Separate workshops, smithies, and craft spaces were often constructed as semi-dugouts, a deliberate architectural choice that took advantage of the earth itself as insulation. By digging these buildings partially into the ground, Vikings reduced exposure to icy winds and created a naturally stable microclimate. The soil surrounding the walls acted as a thermal buffer, absorbing heat during work and releasing it slowly over time. Smithies, in particular, were always placed at a safe distance from the main longhouse. Open flames, flying sparks, and red-hot metal made them too dangerous to keep near a communal dwelling built from wood, turf, and animal hides. These smithies were small but efficient. Their low ceilings and turf-covered roofs trapped warmth generated by the forge, while thick earthen walls prevented heat from escaping. Even during the coldest winters, a blacksmith could work inside wearing minimal layers, surrounded by the glow of fire and the sound of hammer striking iron. Other workshops followed the same principle. Weaving huts, carpentry spaces, and storage rooms were often built partially underground, where humidity and temperature remained more stable. This allowed essential tasks, making cloth, repairing tools, shaping wood to continue year-round, regardless of storms raging outside. Smoke management was another critical element of Viking survival engineering. Without chimneys, smoke from the central hearth rose freely into the upper layers of the longhouse, forming a thick, hot layer beneath the roof. While uncomfortable by modern standards, this smoke served an important purpose. It slowly cured the wooden beams and rafters, protecting them from insects, mold, and rot. Over time, the entire structure became preserved by smoke, significantly extending its lifespan. Carefully designed roof vents allowed excess smoke to escape while keeping precious warmth inside. Managing this balance between air and heat required constant attention and experience, passed down through generations. This smoky upper layer also played a role in daily life. It helped neutralize odors from livestock kept inside the house and discouraged pests that might otherwise thrive in warm, enclosed spaces. The air near the floor remained more breathable, while heat stayed trapped above, slowly radiating downward. What might seem primitive today was, in reality, a finely tuned system shaped by centuries of observation and adaptation. Snow, too, became an unexpected ally. Rather than fighting it, Vikings allowed snow to accumulate naturally around their homes. Sloping roofs guided snow downward, while thick turf walls captured drifting snowbanks. Over time, entire longhouses became buried beneath a deep, compacted layer of snow. This snow acted as an outer shell of insulation, sealing cracks and blocking wind. Beneath this frozen blanket, temperatures along the walls and ground stabilized, even when the air outside plunged far below zero. The house became a quiet, insulated chamber, protected from sudden temperature swings. When all these elements worked together, the Viking longhouse functioned less like a simple building and more like a living organism. Wooden frames provided strength, turf walls and roofs trapped heat, livestock generated warmth, smoke preserved materials, snow sealed the structure, and human routines maintained balance within. Survival was not the result of a single invention, but of a complete system where architecture, nature, and community were inseparable. Imagine standing inside such a house during a winter storm. Outside, the wind howls and snow piles high against the walls. Inside, firelight flickers across carved beams. Animals breathe steadily in the darkness, and warmth lingers despite the cold beyond the door. This was not just shelter, it was resilience made visible. And perhaps that is the greatest lesson the Vikings left behind. They did not conquer nature by force. They listened to it, studied it, and built their lives in harmony with it. If you found this story of ancient ingenuity fascinating, consider what other forgotten technologies history still holds. What else did the Vikings understand that we have yet to rediscover? Stay with us and continue this journey into the past, where survival itself was an art.